Lester, they are actually tonight still doing rescues as we speak in this neighborhood. This is not part of the evacuation zone. People thought they were safe because they're miles from the coast. What they didn't expect was all that rain.
In Central Florida, a race to pull people out of the water, not from a dangerous storm surge, but from Milton's torrential rains. This woman escaping the rising waters in the dark, her 4 young children in tow.
Once we hopped on the oven, I called my mom and told my mom, I think me and my children are about to drown to death.
Many of the neighborhoods underwater are miles from the coast and not typically flood prone.
How long did you live down there?
I lived there 14 years.
Did you ever see it flood?
No, ma'am. Nothing like that.
The County Fire Rescue in Tampa says it conducted 500 rescues. 135 people were pulled from a single assisted living facility.
Please be careful. If you feel better, go on the dry ground. We can take you there.
Amphibious vehicles and marine units helped reach inundated homes.
Rescue workers got here around 3:30 in the morning. Soon afterwards, they found this woman in the green sweatshirt alone in her house. She has a hard time seeing. The front door to her house was broken, and they couldn't convince her to come out. She was scared. They finally, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, got her out and got her to safety.
Milton's heaviest rain dropped over its northern edge, in some places falling more than 2 inches in an hour, with historic totals. Leaving residents in this apartment building in Pinellas trapped. Hundreds had to be rescued.
A lot of credit to our teams that were out there today.
Even with all that warning, the strength of Hurricane Milton still took many here by surprise. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Tampa.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
How long have you been out here?
We've been out here since it was safe to do so early this morning.
Okay, about how many people have you rescued so far?
I'm not too sure. We got teams all over the place. We're working at Pasco, and so the numbers are a little sketchy. Our case management team, who I'm actually trying to get on the phone with right now, they have the good numbers, but a dozen or so, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. What do the homes look like inside? Are they pretty rough?
Yeah, in the flooded areas, they're really bad. In the flooded areas, they're obviously very wet and very flooded and nasty and everything, but you can replace a sock drawer. You can't replace a life.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone injured so far? Or everyone seems to be okay?
Not yet. More or less, everyone's been okay. A couple of bumps and bruises here and there, but more.
It is a day of recovery and cleanup across a swath of Florida. This is the scene in Wellington, just west of Palm Beach, where a hurricane, of course, tore through that village. Palm Beach Fire and Rescue said that they took 5 people to hospital, 3 of them to a trauma center. They also treated many on the scene. Nearly 20 tornadoes touched down in Florida as a result of Milton, killing several people. More than 3 million households and businesses are waiting for power to be restored. Charles Belay is a former anchor and reporter with more than 30 years of experience covering storms in Florida, and he is in Tampa. Charles, it's great to reconnect with you and to see you're smiling, you're doing okay. How are you, Charles?
Lynn, and I first want to apologize for how I look. I've been busting my butt since 7 a.m. this morning cleaning up after Milton, who was a bad boy. We don't like him. So to answer your question, the past 24 hours for residents has been hell. Pardon my French.
No, that's perfectly fine, Charles, on a day like today. So tell us about what last night was like. What did you hear? What was the experience like?
Well, let me just answer you directly that first question. What was it like? What did I hear? That is one of the most frightening things about a hurricane. You hear sorts of sounds that your brain cannot identify. It's going through your Rolodex going, what is that? What is that? And when you don't know what the sound is, it's terrifying because you don't know if something's come through your roof, if part of your walls are ripped away, if that's some sort of flooding, if a wall is cracking, or if something has hit something on the outside of your house. Or electrical problems. That's the other thing. And we've got the electric company right over my shoulder here already trying to get people connected. Hundreds of thousands are without power in Florida on a warm day after, a horrible hurricane, and we got to clean all this up. So It hasn't been fun.
Well, that's encouraging that the electrical company is there trying to get you restored, Charles. Give us a little look around at what you're dealing with today.
Okay, I can't move too much because I'm on internet, so
Okay.
I don't want to. But if you guys look through there, those are electric trucks. They're trying to lift actual wires off the road. You can see the cars as they pass. You can see, and I'm going to follow them, all of the debris that is left on the side of the road. And watch past that blue car. And now here's another gray one. Watch, just look at that just beyond it. Look at the size of that oak tree that has split in two and fallen over. They've already cut half of it out of the street. They got to come and get the other half because it's laying on electric lines that really provide electricity for, whoops, didn't mean to touch that button on the side of my phone. Provides electricity. Okay. Provides electricity for about 150 people on that grid that way. So it's not been good.
Well, yeah, I mean, talking about down power lines there, Charles, I mean, that it makes sense that officials are saying stay where you are if you can, and let us get things cleaned up and safe again before people are out and about.
Very good point, and that I'm glad that you brought that up because the mayor herself said, look, we know you've evacuated, you want to get home, you want to check on your property, you're frightened, but let us get the roads clear because there's branches down, power lines down, all sorts of debris in the road. If you start running over this stuff, you get stuck and then you cause traffic jams. I mean, and we've seen that, but for the most part, it's been pretty cool on this side of the bay in Tampa. You want to talk, it's the tale of two cities, really, Jacqueline, because County, that is where the bomb was dropped. It's awful over there. And you have been showing it all day. The roof ripped off of Tropicana Field where the Tampa Bay Rays play, that will become the iconic image of Milton.
Lee Waldman is a reporter with CNN, and she is in Sarasota, not far from where Milton made landfall last night. So, Lee, tell us about what kind of damage you're seeing where you are.
Yeah, let me show you some of that damage here. You can see some pretty big debris piles. We're in front of a church right here, but what was most shocking to us was this massive tree that was taken down by Hurricane Milton. You can see a pretty big root structure of this tree. When we pulled up about an hour ago, this tree was laying on top of this church, and crews had been hard at work all morning long trying to break apart that tree so they could get it off of that church. And the pastor is here. He says he keeps looking and seeing more and more damage done to his church. His home had some shingles falling off it. He's having to put a tarp over his own roof. We're driving through the neighborhood that's right near this church. We saw a down power line blocking off one of the roads. It's just a lot of damage, a lot of debris lining the streets here in Sarasota. About a mile from where we are up the road, a sign of hope, though, a staging area for linemen, hundreds and hundreds of utility workers who are going to be deployed out to try and get the power back on. There's 3.2 million customers who've been left in the dark from Hurricane Milton. So that's a sign of hope for people who don't have any power today.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to hear that they are going to be heading out and trying to restore things as fast as possible, Lee. We know that just about the entire state of Florida was affected by Milton. What is your sense of how other parts of the area are dealing with this aftermath?
I think right now the biggest thing is trying to help people who are in need. At this point, we know that over 100 people, 18 animals have had to be rescued in some capacity. We know that there's thousands of Florida National Guard who have been deployed by the governor to provide aid to people in need. Hundreds of shelters have been opened up to help more than 80,000 Floridians who need a place to go, maybe if their home was destroyed or if they fled their homes, if they were in a mandatory evacuation area. So it's a lot of damage and a lot of people who are impacted by a very, very large storm.
Lee, really appreciate your reporting for us. That is CNN reporter Lee Waldman in Sarasota.